Today I want to answer the question, what is the Roxon Titan? What is Roxon's brand new tool that they have talked about a little bit? There's been some pictures shown at Blade Show. There was a big display in the background behind their booth, I believe it was. And so what is this brand new Roxon Titan? Well, to understand the Roxon Titan, you need to understand the Roxon Phantom. Now, this has been the largest multi-tool that Roxon has had. This is their surge, if you will. This is the big tool in the lineup. This is the Roxon Flex right here. And this one, while the Flex is actually a little bit longer, this one is definitely, or at least it seems to be, a lot wider. So here's a comparison right there. So yes, it is a lot wider. And then if we weigh them, I think there's a fairly significant weight difference. The Phantom always seemed to be pretty heavy, comes in at 10.5 ounces, and the Roxon around 8.4. So it is definitely a little bit more of a bulky tool. There's spring-loaded pliers in this one. There is the exchangeable system with the Phantom with the blades. You have these gigantic shears or scissors on this side. And I think a lot of people really loved those huge shears. You'll notice they have ruler markings. On the other side is where the tools were and the saw right there. So the Phantom retailed for, I think, somewhere around $50 to $60. And the Roxon Flex, even though it was more expensive, it was still the lighter tool. It was more the Leatherman Charge, the Leatherman Arc of Roxon. Now, Roxon is revamping a lot of their lineup. They have done that to many of their multi-tools so far, and it seems like the Phantom is the next one that they plan to revamp. So the Titan will essentially be their Leatherman Super Tool, Surge, their version for Roxon, and it will include, essentially, you're adding the Flex and the Flex shears onto the Phantom to some extent. All these tools, it seems like, will be combined together into one large tool. Now, as you can see on the screen, there is different pictures of the Roxon Titan out there. And this main picture is the one we'll be going off to see what this tool looks like. Now, they may make some changes as well, but so far, this is what Roxon is saying, hey, this is what our Titan will look like. Now, both of these, the Phantom plier head and the Flex plier head, look fairly similar, but I don't know if you can tell, but the Phantom, the older style plier head, is a little bit smaller. And so I do assume that the new Titan will probably have the Roxon Flex plier head, but I'm not for sure. And as far as the width of these, maybe the Flex is slightly larger. Now, on both of these sides, essentially what it looks like is, at the moment, in this photo at least, in their prototype, they are using very similar to these G10 scales on their Flex system. And then on the other side, they have, on both sides, they have essentially almost like a larger and a smaller handle. And that will replace this handle right here. You can see how this is larger and this is smaller. And so it looks like they are covering that up with G10. They're essentially reimagining the Phantom, calling it the Titan. And it will still, it looks like, have the scissor and the exchangeable knife blade system on the other side. Now, in the picture, the scissor, it looks like, has changed. I'm not quite sure how it's changed exactly, but I assume, it looks like it's still a very large shear, but I'm not sure that it still has this button system, nor am I sure that it's the same as the one in the Flex shears, this one right here. But it looks like from the picture that the Titan will have very large shears on this side as well. And then that really nice operating system where you can just exchange blades. Now, the only problem Roxon has really had is with their utility knife. That can be a little bit of a pain and take some extra time getting used to working with their utility knife. And then I think their utility knife takes some not specialized, but I think it's like SK5 blades. It doesn't take every type of utility blade. I think those are two changes that really needs fixed before it's used with a Titan. Now let's go to the other side of the handle and see what is there. Now on the other side of the handle, on this smaller side, where this has all these, and then the Phantom has this saw right there, they are now replacing it with essentially a Roxon Flex handle that is just has a little bit more tools. So now you can fit 2 large tools and then 4 smaller tools, so a total of 6 tools, which that really ups the capability. With the Flex, I think about the most you could fit is about 4 tools in the handle, so you will get 2 more slots with the Titan. That will really increase the capability. I think people will like that, and that is great news for a lot of people. Now, one of the things I've been surprised, to be honest, is how much people are looking forward to the Roxon Titan. Let me know below in the comments if you're one of them, but I've heard people say, hey, I don't want to buy this tool or this tool, maybe the Leatherman Wave Alpha. I'm waiting for the Roxon Titan, and several people have mentioned that. With this new system, it is a lot of pros, but there's definitely going to be some cons as well. So let's get the negatives out of the way. No one likes negatives that much, but I think it is important to just be realistic to talk about it. I think one of the big cons is we don't know the price. So I just went back and checked on Amazon to make sure. Right now, currently, the Roxon Flex is $88 and the Phantom is $59. Now, when you combine these two systems, a $60 and an $88 tool, what is that price going to be? So I assume this will probably be Roxon's most expensive tool. We've got the Roxon Flex at $88, the Phantom at $69, and when you combine these systems, it will probably be well over or at least $100. Now, Roxon does a really good job of keeping things pretty reasonably priced, but with this larger tool, I do think the cost will make some people maybe think twice, but this will be a very unique tool, definitely far different than the GOAT. It is evolving to becoming one of a kind tool that I think will offer a capability that a lot of people are wanting. Now, what's one of the other cons? Well, the other con is, or the other negative is, that it's probably going to be very heavy. If the Phantom is already 10.2 ounces, and this is going to add more implements than the Flex, I don't know. I have a hard time believing it'll stay around 10 ounces, maybe 11, 12 ounces. I'm guessing it will be somewhere around the Leatherman Surge weight. But maybe they'll be able, with the G10 scales and so forth, to keep the weight down. I don't really know, but expect it to be a little bit of a heavier tool than you're used to with the Roxon Flex. Now, also in the same vein of things, and again, this doesn't have to be negative, but it will be for some people, the Phantom is a very wide tool, and that's part of why I haven't been that taken with the Phantom. It is so wide, and it's just a square brick. Now look at the Flex compared to the Phantom. Look at the side profile, and this is a lot easier, a lot more pocketable to use. The Titan is going to be a big tool. It will be a wide tool. I think it will be almost as wide as this right here. And on the other side, I mean, they're adding 2 more implements, so this handle will definitely be wider than the original Flex. So those are all things to consider. Okay, now let's talk about the positives. What are the positives? Well, the positives are you are getting a very capable tool with a lot of extra space. So if you felt like the flex just wasn't big enough, you didn't have enough room, now with this Titan, you are getting a lot more capability, a huge set of shears, a very large knife. When you think about, I mean, this is a gigantic knife right there, something that you usually don't have on multi-tools, not something this large, something with pliers. That is definitely going to be a plus. And then you can just swap out the blades. You can put a comb in there, all kinds of different options, files, and so forth. Very, very cool. So we've talked about the scissors, the exchangeable blades, more room, all that. I think all that is going to be a very big positive for the Roxon Titan. Let me know what you think. And I'm curious, how much is too much for the Roxon Titan? Would you be willing to pay, let's say, $120? I have no inside information on the price of this. Is that too much? What do you guys think? Just curious, and let me know in the comments below.